Today, we'll be using B-Side-NG to automate Wi-Fi hacking and crack a WPA password on this episode of Cyber Weapons Lab. Although WPA2 is the common standard for Wi-Fi encryption, it's actually very easy to crack using tools like AirCrackNG and B-Side-NG. And today we're going to be doing that using a Wi-Fi adapter as well as a Kali Linux computer. If you're not sure if your adapter is going to be compatible with Kali Linux, be sure to check the links in the description below. And also please be advised, when you do use B-Side-NG, you do need to set it to target a network, because if you just spin it up, it will attack everything around you, and that's illegal. Let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to specify which directory we want to save to, and that's just because it's going to make things a lot neater overall. So we're going to do cd://desktop. Bam, there we go. And then the next thing that we're going to do is, for the purposes of this tutorial, I did not plug in our antenna, and we're going to be using the PAU07 Panda wireless antenna for this tutorial. There's lots of other ones you can use, and you can always just check links in the description for other articles about which would be the best option for you. So we're going to be doing ifconfig, and we're just going to be taking a look at the different interfaces that we have available to us. And we see we have here WLAN 0. That is the internal wireless adapter. And now I'm going to go ahead and plug in our external adapter. And let's see if I can run it again and see if it shows up. All right, let's use iwconfig. And that's going to let us just look at all the wireless interfaces we have available to us. Okay, here we go. We have WLAN 1. And as we can see, it is turned off. If even, more contemporary, you can use IPA. And we have WLAN 1 here. We can see it's currently, the state's down, which is also being turned off. So what we need to do now that we have it plugged in is we need to put it into monitor mode. And what we're going to do is use airmon-ng, and this is another tool in the AirCrackNG suite. And what it does is it just puts our antenna into monitor mode. And our antenna, as it's capable of doing packet injection and being put into monitor mode, which is the reason that we're using it. So make sure before you start that your antenna is capable of doing both. Again, consult those articles. And we're going to use airmon-ng start. That just means we're starting whatever interface we're going to use. WLAN 1. There we go. And we can even, if we want to, check again, try to run the command again. Oh, it says the device is not there anymore. It doesn't exist. It's just vanished. Actually, the name's changed. And if we do WLAN 1 mon, see it's done there. We can even go back to iwconfig, and now we can see it's been renamed WLAN 1 mon. So we know that's been put into monitor mode. And so now that we've done that, we're going to get to pick our target. And I've already set up a target for us today. It's going to be a mobile hotspot that is connected to a computer that's running a YouTube video in the background. So I'm going to go ahead and find it, looking at the network traffic around us with arrow-dump-ng, which is another tool that we have available to us from the AirCrackNG suite. We're going to specify which interface we're using, which is going to be WLAN 1 mon. Okay, as you can see, our antenna is starting to sniff around and show us all of the different networks that are around us. And we can see different things like we can see their BSSID, we can see what channel they're on, and we can also see here the data. And this is relevant to us today because we need to know whether or not there is a client on the network. And the reason for that is because when you want to capture a handshake is basically the secret exchange between a network and a device when it connects. And this happens when it connects, so you need to be able to see that handshake as it happens. So that's what that's what B-Side-NG does, which is the tool that we're using today. And so I let this run for a little bit, and we can see that there's data going on these other networks, but the one of interest is target 1. We can see that it has a little bit of data going through, and let's see, running. All right, so there's a little bit of data going through, but that's enough to tell us that there's a client on it, and that's all we need to know. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop this from running, and I'm gonna grab the BSSID of this network. And the reason for this is when we run B-Side-NG, we are able to specify a target, which is important for this tutorial because we want to make sure that we're just targeting one network and not all of the networks around us, which B-Side-NG will by default attack everything. So it's important that we do this step. and that it never be skipped. And then moving on, now that we have our target network, we're going to try and see if we can listen in on the secret exchange between the network and the client and see if we can capture this handshake. So for running B-side NG, we're going to go ahead and put in B-side NG, and then we're going to specify the target. We can do this by putting -B, which is for BSSID. We're going to paste target there, and then we're going to specify which interface we're using, which is WLAN1 Mon, our antenna that's been put into monitor mode, and let's go. Okay, so we can see that it's scanning through all the different channels, and now that it's locked onto the target it was looking for, it is sending DAuth packets to both the network, the cellular phone that's broadcasting the mobile hotspot, and the client computer that's connecting to it for interwebs, and it's telling both of them to disconnect. Oh, and there you go. So we've already owned the targets, which means that in the interim, while it was telling the two devices to disconnect from one another in their attempts to reconnect, it was also listening in on their attempts and captured a handshake. And that gets automatically saved for you. And since we specified that we're going to be saving to the desktop at the very beginning, that's going to save us the trouble of it ending up anywhere else. So now that we've done that, we can go ahead and try to crack this password open. So the way that we do that is the handshake is basically a hashed mashup of both the password and the network name and a couple of other details. It puts it through an algorithm and gives us a nice hash that we can use to check whether or not it's the correct password. And we do this by checking it against a password list that has any number of passwords. I'm going to be using a pretty popular one. It's probably a little bit dated, but it's not going to matter because I had set this up with a pretty easy password to begin with, just to show you guys. So we're going to do aircrack NG, for which the suite is named after, and we're going to put in the word list that we're using, which is going to be docu.text. Oh, and I also did forget to specify, actually no, it doesn't matter. I can show you if we don't put it in. Just put in wpa.cap, which is the capture file that has the handshake in it. All right, so we found out the password, and that's it. Obviously, if it is a more complicated password, it's going to be a lot more difficult for you to guess, and it is statistical because these are just, password lists. It's full of, tons of unique singular passwords. So the only way you can really make a really robust crack method is to have a very robust, big password list. And then again, if you have any number of mixed letters, characters, it's going to make it a lot more difficult, both for your own safety and, making this a real pain in the butt to try to do. So that's all we have for today. And thank you for watching.
If you like this tutorial, be sure to check out our website, where we have hundreds of free articles and videos, as well as premium paid content like the Ethical Hacking Certification Bundle, which features pen testing with OWASP Zap, WordPress hacking and hardening, and the CompTIA Cybersecurity Analyst Prep course. Check out the link in the description below.
And that's it. That's how you're going to use B-side NG to crack a WPA password. And just remember, whenever you are attacking a network, make sure it is one that you have permission to attack, because doing otherwise would be illegal. Thank you so much for watching, and if you'd like some more information, be sure to check out the link in the description, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.